Greetings everybody, and welcome back to Ascension Arc, the show where I take one of my now not so many unbuilt characters and try to give them a run for their money for about a month or so to bring them up to a usable standard on my account. This month, you all voted for me to play Thoma, which makes me incredibly happy actually, because Thoma happens to be one of my favorite characters in the game. Not only is he truly the golden boy, but just look at him. I want to pat him on the head. He's just, I don't know, there's something about Thoma's design that has always made me very happy. He's just very neatly done. But we are going to be building Thoma. Thoma really hasn't seen a lot of use over the last couple of years. He is a pyro shielder with a fairly decent shield to boot, actually, and his burst makes it so that you boost normal attacks as well as shooting out a burst of flame. Because of this, he has two main roles. One is, of course, the pyro shielder support role, and the other one is to be a burgeoning activator. Look, I hate it when my teapot does that. That's so weird. Where's the light? Oh, I was about to say where's the light coming from, but there's a light on the roof. But yeah, no, he also acts as a burgeoning activator, which we will be playing today. I don't know if this works with Llama. I did a quick check around, and I think burgeoning works with Llama. Look, we're gonna have to figure this out. If we see any of the burgeons actually crit, then we know. If they don't crit, I guess we'll know. If this doesn't work, we'll swap over to Nahida, but I kind of wanted to give it a go because it seemed really funny to me to detonate a bunch of dendrocores that just explode for massive crit damage. Something about that just was silly. On top of that, we are playing Coco Fish because this team desperately needs a healer because we've been blowing ourselves up constantly, and we'll be playing Ayato as our main on-fielder this time around. I just kind of want to have a chance to bring Ayato along because it's Ayato. But we could basically fit any sort of hydro applicator in here if you really wanted to. It shouldn't matter all that much. Before we get started today, though, I have to talk about this stupid stick. Because I have set a challenge for myself on my account that I want to have every Archon and every Archon's weapon. Yes, that includes Zhongli's stupid stick. But two weapons have eluded me so far. Shush, 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 Ayato. Shush, man's talking. Two of them have eluded me so far. And that is Raiden's stick, as well as Zhongli's stick. On both of these, every time they've shown up, I have lost the 50-50, or gotten something else, like a standard weapon or whatever. This is now the third attempt I'm going to be doing on this stupid stick. I've saved some Primo Gems. I am at about pity 50, give or take a little bit. We're just gonna go in there, and I will be really happy if I finally end up getting this thing. And I'm gonna do it on camera, because you deserve to have some fun, too. That's unfortunately a purple, though. That's a lot of Wave Riders, whatever they're called. I don't need those. I got plenty of them. Let's get 2 free wishes, because we can. I don't exactly know what the pity is now, but we should be in the high 50s or 60s. So we'll do singles until something happens. You know, we don't want to waste our precious, precious Primo Gems. There we go! What is it gonna be this time, video game? Well. Well. I guess we can say I've now lost on this stupid stick 4 times. My god, it just does not want to give this to me. But I don't have a Wolf's Gravestone on my main account, so you know what? I'm not even entirely that mad. That is technically a new weapon on this account, so fair enough. We'll just dump the rest in here then, because at this point it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna try and go for it. There's another Sucrose, that's a free wish. Here's another 10 pull. It's a stick that I already have multiples of. Yay! Here we go. A Zhangling! Everything comes up Zhangling, doesn't it? That upsets me so greatly, I don't think you guys understand. This is the 3rd fucking time! Come on, man! What is this video game, even? That makes me upset. Hey, look, another stick. Great, that aside, I am now on pity 30-something. Could I technically farm to get this in 16 days? Probably. Only one real way to find out. But yeah, there's Wolf's Gravestone. Great. Now let's talk about our actual main star of today, which is going to be Thoma. Thoma is going to be probably one of the hardest characters we are ever going to have to build, because his requirements to act as a burgeoning activator are incredibly specific. We are going to have to craft a new weapon for him that I never made on this account, which is the Katane Cross Spear, which is the craftable weapon from Inazuma. I can't do that because I haven't farmed amethyst lumps in 500 years, so we're just simply going to add that to the list of things to do. For now, however, he's going to be holding the Dragon's Bane simply because it gives elemental mastery. He does not really have an artifact set at the moment. I have borrowed a couple of pieces from Raiden Shogun's Hyper-bloom set, but he is going to be rocking Flower of Paradise Lost. This will increase the damage of burgeoning by 40%, and that's really all we're looking for. My Thoma is Constellation 6, which means he gets the Burning Heart. He increases the damage of normal, charged, and plunging attacks by 15% whenever the Blazing Barrier goes online, which is very important, and that is the main reason we're playing Ayato in our slot, because he does normal attacks and stuff. Talent-wise, he isn't exactly that high, but for this build of Burgeoning, the talents aren't actually that important. Most of his damage is going to come from reactions, so nothing really matters. So we are just going to be leveling them to very basic levels and keeping it there, because, again, it doesn't really matter all that much. With that in mind, we do have a couple of things that we need to do, first of all. And the first thing I have to do is go around and farm amethyst lumps, because those things suck. So if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go out with the farming team and just gather a bunch of lumps. A good 25 minutes or so later, we've now managed to gather up quite a few lumps. 166 of them, in fact, which means I'm only going to have to do this one more time. Shockingly to me, we actually have a lot of billets. Unfortunately, I do need to go farm some world bosses, weekly bosses, in order to get some dream solvents, in order to be able to maximize the weapon. But for now, we're simply going to craft 3 Katane Cross Spears, and thankfully these finish in just a few seconds, because if these took hours, man, would I have been upset. But here we go. That is every single one of them. And we got some materials back for crafting? Oh! I didn't even know he did that! That's... Zhongli has a passive? Jesus Christ, okay. I'm not complaining. That's very, very handy. Right, with the spears crafted, we can now finally slap them onto Thoma, although they sadly don't look as nice as the other one does. Now, the reason we are using this in particular over the Dragon's Bane, even though the Dragon's Bane technically gives us more elemental mastery, is because of the energy recharge that this weapon gives. Because when a skill hits an opponent, we lose some energy but then regen more energy back. Thoma, being solo pyro in this team, is going to have a really tough time to keep up with energy when we want to stack him with elemental mastery, so the Katane Crossbear actually does a ton of work here. Because we have Raiden Shogun, of course, we're going to save some more on upgrading this as well, which is phenomenal. We're just going to jump in with all we've got and level this as high as we can go. I apparently have more on this, Jesus. Okay, I am out. Can we do this today? Yes, we can. So that is most likely what we're going to be doing today, because I would like to get this weapon up and going if I can. The weapon looks good on him, though. I'm not going to be super upset about it. That doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look entirely great either, but it's not that bad. Now, obviously, this Ascension Arc is going to be a little bit askew for the time being, because I have borrowed Raiden's artifact to just test out if we can crit or not, and I need some actual numbers to pop up in order to do that. So we're just gonna hit this, lose some, and then watch if our blooms can do the splody. Well, I don't think so. I'm trying to figure out if we can do the splody at all here, but I don't think we can. That's not great. We can't do splody. That's upsetting. That's some fairly good drops, though. There is a second team I would like to try with Thoma, but unfortunately I am way, way worse at playing that one. That one is the Burgeoning team, which is supposedly really good, but I just suck at playing Kniech, man. I don't know what it is about it. I just can't do it properly. Right, so we do this, we drop that, and then if I just kind of go in like this, things will burgeoning kind of by themselves. Yeah, I don't necessarily think this is working, because I don't see any, like, active crits. So maybe it just, Llama just isn't usable here, because that's a Lunar Bloom. Yeah, the burgeoning don't seem to be critting. Look, I don't know if that is just me and the crit, like, the crit rate I have is really, really low, which is definitely a possibility here. But I'm going to go old school with this and just... I guess we put in Nahida for now. And then, obviously, at the DPS check at the end, I can go ahead and I can just kind of try the other one. It's, like, fine. But for now, let's just stick Nahida in here and see if she'll do any better. Alright, Nahida time! Oh, wow, that spread actually did a lot of damage. Oh, come on. Just put the thing. Go to Thoma. We have to burst first before using skill when we play this particular team. But, like, as long as we're hitting one target and generating blooms, I think this one's going to be way better. The problem with it, of course, is that we have to be able to hit one target to do it. But another good thing about this team is the fact that technically, Kokomi can also help create burgeoning orbs for this. Because Ayato has his weird cooldowns that you kind of have to play around, but if you don't have Ayato's skill up and you need to swap it to Nahida for new targets, you can just swap it to Kokofish, and Kokofish can do the same thing. Hooray! Anyway, we're gonna drop some more into this, get some more of these. I'm gonna need way more because I want to max out the weapon, and I want to start maxing out Thoma, because this is an elemental reaction team, and levels do play a part. I did it in the wrong order, but it's okay. As you can see now, the problem here is obviously that we can't create blooms if everything just kind of dies. But it's fine, because then if we click this button, and we just kind of hit stuff, they do explode. Like, it's fine, I guess? I don't know. It feels weird to play this team. I don't know. I think Nahida and Thoma are the only ones where the reaction for Elemental Mastery play part, unless I remember incorrectly. But I could be wrong on this. I legitimately don't remember much of it. There are a couple of more masks. Let's see how much we can actually do on the weapon now, because I still think we're going to need plenty more to finish this up. Alright, Crossbeer, show me what you got. We got some upgrades for this. Level 60. We can go to level 70. Very nice. We can almost proceed to 80. I need to craft some more of these. I think we are going to need to do this 1 or 2 more times, so we may as well. Like, it's 20k a Burgeon, which isn't exactly great, but that's also with Thoma completely unleveled and on terrible artifacts, so maybe there is a thing we can do here? These are... oh, there's a bloom. Okay, kick it. Okay, I think the 8,000 is actually a reaction to something else, because there was another number that just popped up that might have been the real damage. I'm gonna be real, I don't really know, but hey, it is what it is. Here we go. That might leave us with enough, honestly. With a bit of hope, at the very least. Only one way to find out, though, and that is to go crafting. Alrighty then, we managed to craft off everything we needed to max out the crossbear, so we're gonna do that. There is level 80. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is the fully maxed out weapon at level 90. Very good. We will be collecting the refinements across the week when I can do some more mining and or world bosses, so that should be fine. Speaking of which, though, we need to proceed to start going for level 90 of Thoma himself, because that is incredibly important for this. We can still make a bunch of whatever they're called, so we don't need to care entirely about that, but we do need to farm the smoldering pearls, which is the pyro hypostases. Luckily for me, though, we are playing a team that can do a fair bit of damage to this, so it should be fine. I also believe that burgeoning damage counts as dendro, unless I'm mistaken. So we might be able to handle that as well, so we don't really need to do any changes or funny shenanigans whatsoever. We can just get in there and fight stuff. It's great. Alright, there is drop number 1. We're gonna need 20 of these bastards, so we're gonna be here for a while. Oh, that's a fancy feather right there. I don't mind that thing at all. That's actually great. Not a single 4-drop so far. Jesus. Wait, I just got a Nirvana achievement? Excuse me? Smells like animal spirit. Okay, that's funny. Thank you, Genshin, for funny me. An absolutely absurd amount of crafting later. My god, I am running out of these things very rapidly on this account. We are going to ascend Thoma up to his final ascension and actually have enough books to bring him up all the way to level 90. That's awesome, actually, because that means that there's only one thing left to do for Thoma, and that is to find his own artifact set. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove everything he currently has equipped, because that would be a fair amount of cheating. We don't do that around here. I simply had them there to test things out. We are looking for something very specific for Thoma. We are looking for elemental mastery, and that is everything. Most of the time, you play something like this to gain energy recharge and HP, or full energy recharge for damage, or this for full attack, or whatever. But because we're playing Thoma, and we're playing him as a burgeoning activator, we need every single piece of elemental mastery that we can get, because it's going to increase the damage of our explosions. We are unfortunately out of resin for today, though, so that's everything for now. I'll see you here in a week, I guess, to see what progress we can make. And welcome back. It's been roughly a week. It is now Sunday once again. And shockingly enough, we've actually made rapid progress on Thoma during the week. Normally, I don't tend to get anything, and I really have to scrounge together everything by the very end. But honestly, we've come very far. Thoma, of course, last time got his weapon maxed out, but I've also managed to get a full set of artifacts in a week's time. Trust me, we were incredibly lucky on this one. Here is the Elemental Mastery Sands that I got. 16% HP, almost 17, is great for Thoma because that increases the power of our shields, which is his secondary function, and some crit rate because who really cares? This is an Elemental Mastery Goblet that I had stored that I decided to use because normally for these episodes, of course, we take goblets that we don't use on any other character. I happen to have this one, and it had HP, crit damage, energy recharge, which is great. I also got this headpiece with crit and energy recharge once again, which is awesome. We got this flower that rolled incredibly well into energy recharge, 3 rolls. Unfortunately, no elemental mastery, but because Thoma is an energy-hungry boy, I figured it'd be okay anyway. Similarly, we got this feather that got 19% energy recharge and 1 drop into elemental mastery, which is perfectly fine and dandy for the burgeoning team. With this, his Elemental Mastery is now at 855, which of course is going to be buffed slightly by Nahida's weapon, which provides it by another 32. There we go. So, yeah, it's gonna be fine, I believe. Oh, it's 32 per thing that isn't the same, so he'll actually get 60-something or whatever. I never remember how Nahida's weapon works. It doesn't matter. I also decided to swap out Kokomi for Yelan, because Yelan can get more elemental mastery. And she just increases the damage required by this team, because I'm going to be honest here, it's not looking entirely great. We've also swapped over Ayato to the Calamity of Ishu, because Thoma does provide a shield. So we can run the Ishu, which I much prefer on my Ayato. Mostly because of the coloration and the actual, you know, it looks cool as shit. But yeah, that's about it. We're technically ready to just start testing at this point, because I'm gonna be honest, there isn't much improvement we can really do for a burgeoning team. Burgeoning is entirely reliant on elemental mastery, and basically no other stat matters at all. So we may as well just kick the bucket and get this over with, because I'm not expecting all that much. Though, before we do, I will show this off, because I got the stupid stick. We lost the stupid stick last time, but I got the stupid stick. It's great. I have it now. Also, I managed to get Raiden's Echo, finally, so that's cool, I guess. And here we are. I don't entirely know what to expect from this, but I am not expecting a miracle whatsoever. This team is very high investment, but I don't think the payoff is going to be all that great. But, you know, there's only one real way to find that out. The main way a burgeoning team works, of course, is that we are going to be generating bloom cores using Nahida's elemental mastery and detonating them using Thoma's. Ayato and Yelan are basically here to apply Hydro, which doesn't really bother any of the other ones. Thoma's application of Pyro is so slow that hopefully we don't hit that many Vaporizes. Though I don't really know what to trust here. We're simply going to have to find out, and that's legitimately all that we've got. We're going to start with Nahida. We're just going to put our button out. We're going to go to Yelan. We're going to rush and attack. We're going to activate Thoma's burst. Then go into... Oh, sorry, not Thoma. Ayato's burst. And now we're simply just going to hit here and try to get as many burgeonings as we possibly can, really. And that's kind of all that we're doing here. We're going to swap back out again, reapply all of our things. We're going to kick with Thoma, hopefully get enough energy, and we don't, which is awful. We can still trigger some burgeons off of his shield, but as you can clearly tell here, it isn't necessarily that great. The cool part about this, of course, is that we can actually use on-field Nahida here, too. Because of Yelan. As long as Yelan has her thing up, then we can technically do that. But 35k is what we are going to end up with here. I don't know. I feel like a team with this much investment should be able to do more. Is burgeoning just really that underpowered to the point where it just cannot do better? Obviously, I have not played a burgeoning team that much, so there is highly likely that I'm fucking something up along the line here, 100%. Thoma is also lacking some of the energy recharge, as you saw there, so we can't burst with him every turn, which is unfortunate, but I got so many energy recharge substats that it wasn't enough anyway. If you have to invest even more into energy recharge, the option we'd have is to change the weapon he is using, but that means the burgeonings are going to deal even less damage. And I don't really think that's worth it. I'm gonna be real, I don't really think that's great. Having a look at the stats then, you can see that Ayato and Thoma are dealing roughly the same amount of damage in this team, with Yelan stooping in a little bit here. It's even, I'll say that much. Obviously, my top one Ayato isn't gonna do shit here because he ain't getting buffed by anything. But the fact that Thoma is keeping up with the detonations is fairly good. Would I say that this team is worth investing in by any means? No, not even close. I just don't believe in it that much. But we have a couple of other teams that we could be trying out. So give me a second and we'll give a try to some of those. Something I just noticed when you're in Melastra Wonderland that I have not noticed before is that Paimon is actually holding the Melastra ball, and she has idle animations based on holding it. Like, look. I never knew that. I don't stay paused in this mode very often. That's kind of cute. Okay then, here is the second team I kinda wanted to try out, and this one is far more free-to-play friendly than the last. We are going to be playing Hyper-burgeoning Thoma this time. This is essentially a combination of both two-part transformational things with Dendro. Nahida is going to be our main on-fielder for this, and unfortunately Nahida is kind of hard to replace in this team. Nahida just kinda does everything that they need to do. Chingsha will be our Hydro Applier, Kuki will be able to both heal and apply Electro for Hyper Bloom, and Thoma, of course, is going to burgeon whatever does not get Hyper Bloomed. They both have weird internal CDs, so technically this should kind of work. I don't really know, but we're gonna find out. I probably missed. Oh my god, nah. Okay, now we go. Activate our burst, click the button, we go to Chingsha, we do our thing here. We go to Kuki, we activate all our buttons, we go to Thoma, we click our buttons, and then we simply go into Nahida, and we push buttons. So some of them are going to be burgeoned, some of them are going to be hyper-bloomed, and it just kind of mixes. It kind of works. I'm gonna say this team is also much nicer to play than what the last one was. This one actually feels kind of good to do. Unfortunately now, of course, Thoma's energy recharge problem are definitely going to show up. But that's kind of okay in this team, because it doesn't really hurt as much here, I'm noticing. Like, this kind of works way better, actually. I'm gonna be real, I kind of like this one. There are some energy problems here, clearly, but I don't really mind all that much. Because as long as we're pushing the button, it does function. Nahida kind of does everything we need to as well, because even though she's not actively attacking anything, we can kind of sit and wait a little bit. It doesn't matter all that much. Yeah, because what we do is we just trade off like this, and then we can kind of just get it going again. Because now we have Hyper Bloom back in business again, we can trade back into Thoma to activate the burgeoning. This feels much better. Like, I'm not gonna lie here, this actually feels so much better to play than the other one. 39,552. Like, I'm gonna be yeah, no, this feels pretty good. I don't hate this at all, really. There's just a lot of stuff going on here. This team felt way better than the other one. With this one, you constantly have reactions kind of just popping off every second that you can. And no matter what, your Dendro cores aren't really going to waste, which I think is the best part about it. Obviously, Yelan might be better in this team. I don't really know. She does give a lot more EM. Maybe she's better. But that also increases the cost of the team by a whole bunch, and I don't really like that, because a majority of these are running 4-star stuff. The only 5-star character in this team is Nahida and her weapon, which technically isn't needed, but it does help. Everyone else here is on 4-star stuff. Like, Xingqiu is on Sacrificial Sword, Shinobu is on Siphos' Moonlight, or whatever it's called, and then Thoma obviously is on the Katane, so I'd say this is a fairly low investment team, and hitting almost 40k with it, I'm not that upset about it. If I actually had Nahida leveled, because Nahida is level 81, she is not 90, I'm pretty sure this would break 40, 42, maybe 43. It's not great by, like, any means, but it does work, and that's all we could really ask for. Right, for the next team, we actually have to swap Thoma out of his normal Elemental Mastery attire, because we're kind of moving on from Burgeoning to give a couple of other teams a try. This time around, we're going to be rocking him on a Favonius Lance, which is his second favorite weapon, given that it's just energy recharge. It's basically all he wants to keep his uptime going. We're also going to be running on Emblem this time around, because he is going to be off-fielding a lot. He isn't going to deal a ton of damage, but he is going to be providing enough. For the next team, we are going to perform Heresy, because this is Raiden Shogun Overload. The main problem with running Thoma in this team is that we don't have the space to activate Fischl's Haxorei buff, which normally you would have played Durin or even Nicole these days, because that is just significantly better than what we are doing. Nicole, Fischl, Chevreuse, Raiden actually sounds like an absolutely tremendous team. So I'm going to have to try that at some point too. But I simply wanted to give this a go and see, hey, maybe this will actually function the way I think it does. Well, I don't really know what I expected off of this one, really. 38k does not sound all that tremendous, I'm going to be honest. It's not great. Looking at it like this, obviously Thoma isn't dealing that much damage. It is Fischl and Raiden carrying this by a landslide. It's 38k is not really what I expected for a team like this. Then again, it is mostly 4 stars once again. We are not exactly running the greatest of all time here. Hyper-burgeoning to do more though, so I suppose that speaks for itself. I want to give this team a go with 2 separate things though. I want to try it with Chlorand instead of Raiden, being that that is a much more modernized character, and I'd like to try it with Nicole instead of Thoma, just to kind of compare the difference. So I'm going to quickly swap this team over to Nicole, and we're going to give it a go again. I mean, the difference is kind of night and day here, isn't it? It's not as, like, by a big of a margin as I thought it was going to be, but it is definitely a significant increase just running Nicole over Thoma here. Who could have freaking guessed it? Anyway, now that I've answered that, let's go back to our regularly scheduled Thoma gameplay. Alright, back to our regularly scheduled Thoma. This time we have just swapped Raiden Shogun for Clorand, a much more modernized version of her, I would say. Clorand is C1 running her signature weapon for your awareness. Let's find out what kind of nasty shenanigans this is going to be then. Well, that was a nice little overload buff at the end there. I definitely screwed the rotation up more than once there. But 67k is honestly okay. My Clorand can pull far more than that, and as you can see, Thoma is barely contributing here. The thing we should not forget, though, and that is kind of important here, is that Thoma's burst and shield by sort of proxy, I suppose, is giving a normal attack damage to Clorand, which I believe boosts her skill. Do not quote me on this, I'm going to look that up before I say anything else. After some quick research, it does turn out that yes, Clorand's E actually does count as a normal attack, which means it has a 50% boost from Thoma. That is kind of a significant increase, to be honest. I'm kind of okay with this one, to be perfectly honest. We're gonna give it a go with Nicole as well, just for comparison's sake, though. Alright, I did a quick test with the Nicole team as well, and just like before, the increase is roughly 13,000, give or take a little bit. It is a massive difference, don't get me wrong, also considering the fact that my Nicole is not actually built, really. She is not providing the maximum buff possible. I suppose neither is Thoma, but you know what I mean. Nicole has way more scaling together with both Fischl and everyone else. Yeah. And just like that, the Ascension Arc for Thoma comes to an end. This was actually an incredibly quick one. Normally these take months to make because of, you know, time restrictions on Genshin Impact and stuff like that. But this one just kind of went the way that it did, I suppose. I still absolutely adore Thoma's design, but I think through playing him for a couple of weeks now, I really understand why he's felt left behind for a while, and while you don't really see him in anything. Burgeoning is a very, very cool mechanic, do not get me wrong here, but it just does not keep up with the modern versions of this, being either, you know, Lunar Bloom or Nefer's special version of Bloom, or even Hyper Bloom. Hyper Bloom just does this way better than anything else. Hyper Bloom is also a hell of a lot easier to build and easier to slot around because Electro units just maintain it way better than what Pyro units do. I should not talk that much crap about him, though, because as we saw, he can be a fairly formidable shielder in Overload teams, simply because of the fact that he is Pyro, and Pyro does lack shielders, is what I would have said if Nicole wasn't recently released, and Nicole absolutely eclipses him on every single level. Other than that, we have, what, Xingyan? Yanfei Burst? Look, Thoma has a very, very niche usage, and that kind of plagues him to this day. But, on the other hand, his design is very cool, and at the very least, he actually has places where he is useful, unlike a certain Dendro character we've built. Because of that, Thoma is going to end up in the D tier. He is just eclipsed by everyone, and if you absolutely need to play a Pyro Shielder, Nicole is going to be your option every day of the week if you got her. There is just no reason to play Thoma in that sense. Thoma does have the availability of playing a Burgeoning activator, and that is what he is mainly good at. But Burgeoning is really bad still. I did give a go to Lama instead of Nahida throughout all of this testing as well, so that you are aware, but the damage on that team was significantly less than Nahida, because Nahida can share her Elemental Mastery through her burst. That's all we really need to know here. I don't think I'll be putting Thoma in any team anytime soon, on my account at the very least, but if you are in need of someone who boosts normal attacks, as well as a Burgeoning activator, Thoma's your guy, I suppose. Go give him a go, see if he can do better than what I did, because I did not have a great experience playing him. Something that we do need to talk about in this video specifically, though, is that I have finally created the tier list. Yep, you heard that right. I went back to some of the episodes that, since we've had the DPS calculator, so obviously most of the older episodes are not going to show up here, but I have gone through most of them and gone through all of our DPSs, which you will see on screen now, and I have ranked them because I felt like it. Most of the teams we have played are not modern by any means, unlike, the Lunar Bloom team we played last time, which did really, really well, actually. And I've ranked them on ratings based on their DPS. Is this a definitive rating of their character? No! Is this even an accurate definition of what the damage can be? Hell no! This is just what we've managed to do on this show and on my account specifically. Don't take any of these ratings to heart, they are just here for the fun of it. The top one we're going to have for this episode is going to be the Clorand Overload team, peaking at 67,000 DPS. And it is carrying mostly 4-star units, even if most of them on my account, or actually all of them on my account, are C6, and the team is incredibly carried by Clorand herself. It still did really well, all things considered, and the Nicole team wasn't that much of an increase over it, so I'm honestly not that unhappy with it. It's kind of nice, actually. But yeah, that is everything we've got for this time. The vote has already ended for who is up next, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am actually kind of excited to build Chi-Chi.